Let's try over here. Does that look better?
That was good.
All right, guys. Love you all. 3, 2, 1. See ya.
Balrogs are some of the heaviest hitters on the side of evil, and while they have all but died out during the War of the Ring, save for that one dude hiding in Moria, they are extremely powerful, and were some of Morgoth's biggest war assets alongside his dragons. But why were they so powerful? And outside of Gandalf of course, has anyone managed to defeat one? Before we get into that, let's clear up some misconceptions from the movies. Now, as great as the Lord of the Rings films are, they did take a lot of liberties with how a lot of things look. For the most part, it's reasonably accurate, and Peter Jackson has established a strong aesthetic for Middle-earth, which I imagine anytime Tolkien is mentioned. But one of the largest aesthetic changes came with turning the Balrog into this demon-looking creature with horns, wings, and so on. Let's be honest, this looks really cool, and is certainly an improvement on the animated version that goes a bit more in the Chimera direction. That is an odd looking fella. According to the books, Balrogs are man-shaped, and while the descriptions are vague, there isn't a mention of wings, horns, hooves, or so on. There's still the whole shadow and flame thing going for them, so maybe something like this is a bit more lore accurate. But let's be honest, we're going to imagine the Peter Jackson one anyway, aren't we? Still, we need to establish what the Balrogs are, and they are essentially Maya, the lesser god/angelic beings that serve the Valar, who have been seduced and corrupted by Morgoth, the real Dark Lord, and Sauron's predecessor. As a result, they have their shadowy flame powers and are extremely powerful, being originally the same beings as wizards, like Gandalf and Saruman. The elves refer to them as Valarukar, at least I hope that's how you pronounce it, which is Quenya for demon of power. And this mention of the word demon might be where we get a lot of the demonic artworks for the Balrog. Because of their nature and power, there aren't many Balrogs, numbering around 3 to 7, which seems like odd numbers to pull out. But this wasn't always the case. In earlier versions of Tolkien's world, Balrogs were more demonic and less divine in nature and were thus weaker, but in the canon version of Tolkien's mythos, only 3 people have ever defeated one, that we know of, and all paid with their lives to do so. 2 of them came back, which seems really harsh on the one dude who didn't. So let's start with that dude, Ithilien of the Fountain. Ithilien was one of the Noldor of the great city of Gondoloin in Beleriand in the First Age, and was considered the fairest of his people, often playing music with his flute. He was the lord of the House of the Fountain, a house known for liking shiny things and playing flutes, but don't let this pretty boy fool you. Ithilien could throw hands. During the battle for Gondoloin, he fought alongside Tuor, the cousin of Turin and one of the few men allowed in the city. And in some versions of the Fall of Gondoloin, specifically the Book of Lost Tales, Ithilien kills 3, yes 3, Balrogs, although this was later changed. He did, however, face off against Gothmog. No, not that Gothmog. This Gothmog, one of Morgoth's top lieutenants and the meanest of the Balrogs. After cleaving through orcs and trying not to get burned by a dragon, because apparently Morgoth really wanted Gondoloin to fall after the city spent centuries rage-baiting him by simply existing, Tuor and Ithilien take a break at Gondolin's fancy fountain to have a drink. Gothmog then arrives, and Tuor tries to fight him but just gets slapped aside, and it becomes Ithilien's time to shine. During their epic duel, both of Ithilien's arms get wounded, and he's unable to pick up his weapons, but that doesn't stop this pretty boy, because he realises that his pointy helmet has to be good for something, and decides to jump at Gothmog, wrap his legs around him and straight headbutt his helmet into the Balrog. The pair then fall into Gondolin's fountain, where they both drown, marking the end of Ithilien of the Fountain and Gothmog, mightiest of the Balrogs. But we're not leaving Gondolin yet. Okay, we kind of are. You see, when Tuor tries to lead refugees out of the city, another unnamed Balrog arrives to try and ruin the party, with a squad of orcs, and faces off against another Lord of Gondolin, the mighty Glorfindel, Lord of the House of the Golden Flower. He fought valiantly to defend the fleeing people of Gondolin, and managed to stab the Balrog in its stomach, causing it to fall off the cliffside. But having that long, luscious elven hair has its downsides, since the Balrog grabs Glorfindel's hair as he falls, and the pair crash into the earth below. Thorondor, Lord of the Eagles and predecessor to Gwaihir, fishes out Glorfindor's broken body, and the elves later bury him in the mountains around Gondolin. But Glorfindel was extra special for some reason, so he gets revived and buffed by the Valar, and sent back in the Second Age to form a rivalry with the Witch King of Angmar, so don't feel too bad for Glorfindel. You should feel bad for Ithilien though, since he beat an even meaner Balrog and has to stay dead.
That's rough, buddy.
And finally, we move on to Gandalf, who faces off against Durin's Bane, the last Balrog. At least I think he's the last Balrog. Now Durin's Bane was discovered hiding in Moria after the dwarves dug too deep during the rule of Durin VI in the Third Age, hence the name Durin's Bane. Moria is then evacuated, then reclaimed by dwarves under the rule of King Dain, then decimated again, and that's when the Fellowship comes along. Now you probably know all about this bit, so I'm just going to skim over it quickly. The Fellowship enter Moria, Gimli starts crying, Pippin is a fool of a took, there's a cave troll, a Balrog turns up, he does not in fact pass, Gandalf falls off a bridge to fight said Balrog and the fools fly. Now I do want to spend some time talking about how Gandalf hounds this Balrog for ages. He talks about fighting him in the deepest depths and the highest peaks, meaning that he literally chased this demon up and down to finally do him in. Unfortunately, Gandalf kicks the bucket doing so, but he is fortunate in that he gets revived with a job promotion, and I guess technically a power boost? Man, Ithilien must be in Valinor fuming right now. So those are the 3 Balrogs that we know were slain in battle, but as I said earlier in the video, there are 3 to 7 Balrogs, and if there are more than 3, what happened to them? Well, they were probably dealt with during the War of Wrath, at the end of the First Age, being destroyed by the Valar and Maiar or crushed under Ancalagon's giant butt, when Elrond's dad pile drives his boat into him. In all likelihood, Durin's Bane is the only surviving Balrog from this battle, and after Gandalf dusts him, the Balrogs go extinct. It's for the best, trust me. Do you know what else would have been for the best? Reviving Ithilien. I want justice for Ithilien, but I'm probably not going to get it. Hopefully I can get a like and subscribe from you, but either way, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in another video.